Hi everyone. Today's video we're going to go over how to put the Poison Spyder Hood Louver onto our Jeep JK. So there's the unmodified hood. As you know, I repainted this recently, but it always planned to put the hood louvers on it. The paint job came out better than I expected, which is great, you know, hey. But today we're going to work through the process of putting the hood louver onto the vehicle. Okay, so this is the template that you get with the Poison Spyder Hood Louver. So this is before you cut it out, but it's got the instructions printed directly here on the template. So it's pretty cool. Let's see what's the next step, and we can kind of go from there. I'm sure we're going to cut off the excess paper and then start doing our punches on the hood, etc. All right, folks, so we got the hood off the Jeep. We've removed the hood loop, footman's loop that's on the top, the rubber bumpers here and here. We got to do some touch-up paint. It looks like when I pulled the hood latches off, it pulled some of this off. But that's not a big deal because that's going to be hidden most of the time. I just need to hit it with some stuff. So we've cut out our template. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to lay out the template on it. And it mounts to, sorry about the noise, it mounts to these if I'm not mistaken. So we'll get that on there, tape it up, and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what the template looks like once it's on the hood with the cutouts. So you got the cutout here. We've got the cutout for the windshield bumpers. Use some Sharpies to stick in there, just to kind of help us put it where it needs to be. It's a very windy day here today, so we used a lot of tape, painter's tape, to get it where it needs to be. The holes for the footman loop match up, so we think we've got it pretty much straight. And then we'll go to the next thing. So that was step 3 on the instructions. First one was to remove the hood, then, you know, cut out the template. Now we're going to center punch all the holes located with an X that we opt to work through. There's an optional cutout line here that we're not going to follow. We're going to follow the recommended cutout line on this installation. So we've got to center punch everything, then we get the pleasure of removing the template with all the tape, and then you know, use our 1-inch hole saw to pop holes everywhere here, including right here, it looks like. Okay? So that's what we're going to be up to next. Here's we're using the automatic punch, which is recommended. Make sure you got a sharp drill bit for the next part. That one's done. I'm going to do those last. And I'm pulling the template tight every time I put one on, just to make sure I've got it where it needs to be. Wait, is it too late to stop? Oh. Okay, so we've got all the holes drilled. You have to be careful, of course. You don't want to put the 1-inch holes down through the supports. You know, you can go ahead and put the small drill bit through because that's just the way it's designed. I've got one here that snagged on me. I'm gonna have to clean that one up and get it off. That was my fault. The drill bit for the hole saw came out while I was doing it, so it didn't stay tight into the drill. So we'll fix that, and that's it for right now. Okay, so we've got the holes drilled, and hopefully in the sunshine you can see where we've traced out where the cuts are going to be. So next is the critical part of actually cutting it and not ruining the underside bracing. So that ought to be interesting and a little nerve-wracking. Okay, so we're starting our cuts. You see we've got a couple cuts made over here. We're going to finish up over here. This is an easy way to do it in my mind, you know, because I'm cutting all the ones in one direction, then I'll go back and cut the other ones the other direction. Angle grinder, cut off wheels, what I'm using. And yeah, I'd say it's too late to not do this at this point. So everything seems to be going okay. I did get that one out. It did burr it up a little bit. We'll straighten that up. It's all going to be hidden under the louver. So expect the unexpected when you do this. I got a little paint bubbling right here from the heat. But of course, one of the steps in this process, once you get everything drilled and cut out, you're going to do a little light sanding, put some touch-up paint on anything that's bare metal. So we'll be doing that. Okay, so here you can see the rough cutouts. When you do these sections that have this adhesive on it, once again, you're going to try not to cut through the brace, right? And that's cool. Even when you get it all cut out, it's going to stick to these things. You can see that I had to, pull up on it. So expect a little resistance. Don't think you've got your cuts not correct. Just expect a little resistance as you do it, as you pull these off. The upper ones really didn't have a problem, so I'm not concerned with those. Okay, so we've got our grinding wheel on, so we're going to smooth up some of these edges and get it ready for some painting and stuff like that. So we're not going to film this. It's going to be really loud, but we might give you 10 seconds or so. So here we go. Okay, so we've gone ahead and hit it roughly with that grinding wheel, got off the big knobs out of it, I hope. I'm going to come back with a Dremel here in a minute, but before I do that, I'm probably going to go ahead and sand it down so I can start thinking about repainting it. So I've taped it out because I don't want the sander to grab any paint that might come out outside of the actual hood louver. So that's why I've got the pattern on there. The louver's bigger than the blue paint or blue tape, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Okay, folks, so we've got our touch-up paint all on. So now our next step is to position this on and get our footman loop and some other things on, just to try and hold it where it needs to be. And we'll use this as a template for the instructions to get the rest of the holes drilled here. So it's a little cold out here this morning. We had a cold front come in last night. There we go. So these push down and kind of turn. It helps to grab them from the bottom. So I'm pulling it and pushing. Pulling from the bottom, pushing from the top. Okay. So that's about where it needs to be. And then we'll use the louver itself as the template for everything else that we're doing. All right, so we've got the rubber bumpers installed. Rubber baby bumper bumpers. Okay, it's hard to say. All right, got the footman's loop installed. The next thing we need to do is we're gonna tack down each of the four corners. So we'll drill our hole, put in a bolt and nut in each of the four corners, and then we'll go ahead and drill the rest of the holes. and then bolt it all in place. As you can see, we're almost done. Okay, so we've got our 4 holes drilled, and what we're going to do, put a little touch-up paint here on a Q-tip and get it inside the hole on both that. And since we're using this as a template, I'm going to do that as well. And all you see is I'm just using the Q-tip and going around to each of the holes. Ooh, that wants to go somewhere. Okay, so we've got these in here finger tight. These here we're going to tighten down because we want this flush when we start doing the remaining. So put your Allen key in there. You got your little wrench for the nut. These are lock nuts. Okay, so we're just finishing up the last 3 holes. So we're going to loosen those nuts. And then we'll put any touch-up paint that we need to on it. We got most of our bolts in, and the instructions do say that some of these are going to have to be drilled out on the underside of the hood, because they're hitting the frame, not the frame, this support beam. So 3/4 inch hole. Use this hole as a pilot hole, and there's going to be at least 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 or 4 on each side, depending on where everything falls. Okay, so here you can see where we've cut those holes to get through the supports, right? Where the bolts that they supply is just quite not long enough. So when you're doing these, make sure that you're gentle, because some of these you have plenty of room, others are right up against the sheet metal. So you want to go slow and cautious, okay? We're going to get all this drilling shavings off. We're going to give it a good painting, and then we'll put the bolts on. So we've got everything in, tightened down. It's been touch-up spray painted on the under the hood, and for this out here, you know, I used flat black up there. For this over here, it's too close to the original paint, so I'm just using a can of the Mopar matching paint, and I'll just hit that right in here. Okay, so this is the finished product. This is hopefully we can get you in there where you can see what it's going to look like. So yeah, I'm kind of liking the way it looks. So.
Thank you for watching the video, and please like and subscribe. See you next video.